Hey everybody, it's been a minute since I've made a video, but I'm jumping back into it. Somebody at church was talking to me about it and actually encouraged me about doing these again and how it has impacted them. And so I want to continue to do these and keep rolling with this. So in James 2, we're at James 2, we just finished 14 through 18, so now we're going to go into 19, down to 22, I believe. Well, maybe through 24. So I'm going to read it real quick. James 2, 19 through 24. You believe that there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. You foolish person, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless or dead? Was not our father Abraham considered righteous for what he did when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see that his faith and his actions were working together, and his faith was made complete by what he did. And the scripture was fulfilled that says Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness, and he was called God's friend. That's really important. You see that a person is considered righteous by what they do and not by faith alone. And so we have these scriptures and stuff that can be, if you really listen to it with kind of religious ears, and you've heard it a lot, you've talked about it a lot, you've heard these words, faith, righteousness, actions, deeds, you've heard those words and those terms a lot before. And what we'll do by accident is we accidentally take them to a place about like doing right and doing wrong. But that's not what this scripture is about. It's not about like, oh, I'm choosing to, not sin or choosing to sin. It's not even talking about that at all. But it's very easy to just like take that and be like, oh my gosh, okay, I got to do the right things instead of doing the wrong things and be righteous. And I'm telling you right now, like, righteousness is about relationship with God. Righteousness is about full-on connection with God. It's not necessarily just like right living. It's actually relationship and connection with God. So what he's saying here is he's like, you can't just have faith and just believe in a God that he exists, right? Like even demons do that. Even demons can believe that there is one God, and they do believe that there is one God. So obviously there's something more to this, right? We can believe these things and know things from Scripture, right? But it doesn't come alive in you. It doesn't bring anything home. It isn't meaningful until you do something with it. And then it says, I love this part. Abraham believed God. He had a relationship with God, and they spoke. And God spoke something to Abraham. And Abraham believed it. And it was credited to Abraham as righteousness, and he was called God's friend. Okay, Abraham knew God. They had a relationship. They talked with each other. They walked with each other. They met. And God said something to Abraham, and he said, hey, I'm going to make you a nation. I'm going to make you and your children, I'm going to turn them into a nation. And Abraham said, okay, great. All right. And God credited that to Abraham as righteousness, and he became a friend of God. You see, that's where this thing comes alive. It's when God speaks to you, you have a relationship with him. You don't just believe God exists. Even demons do that. You have a relationship with him, and you get to know him. You get to find out, who is this God? Who is this God of the Bible? And you speak to him. You begin talking to him, having a relationship, and he's going to say something to you, a promise, a word, something he's asking, right? Hey, I think that you should start being careful with the way you use your words. Hey, I think there's this person that I want you to start reaching out to and making a connection with that person. And when you take that and you go, God, this is from you, I believe it, and you do it, that is righteousness, and that is relationship with him. Abraham became God's friend because he heard him, he had a relationship with him, and he believed God. And then he lived his life according to that. Like, righteousness isn't just choosing to do what's right. It's not just right living. It's out of that relationship with God, you choose to start living your life a certain way. It's not about choosing like sin or not sin. It's about choosing, God, what are you speaking to me? Where are you talking to me? Give me something to put my belief in. And God will speak things to you, speak things into your heart, into your mind, right? And now you say, okay, I'm going to do something about that. I'm not just living my life willy-nilly. I'm living my life for a person named Jesus. I'm living my life for this man named Jesus, this God who can walk with me, who can talk with me, who can interact with me, and I'm living for him. And when he speaks, I do it. I do it. I act it. I believe it fully that this is real. This is a real God. And when he speaks to me, I do it. And I act it out and I act on that thing. And when you do that, not only do you get righteousness, are you credited by God as righteousness, but you earn him as a friend, as someone to know deeply. Connected, fully connected. And that is God's true deep desire. God isn't up there judging people's heart. What is it? It just said it. Just right in before this part here. In 13, because judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful, but mercy triumphs over judgment. So speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom. What is a law that gives freedom? That seems like they're two opposite worlds, right? But when you realize that God is not pressing people to choose right and wrong, that's not his goal. He's actually pressing you to say, hey, come have a relationship with me, and I am merciful. I am kind. I do not judge without mercy. And God is actually inviting you to a relationship, and that's why he says, come walk with me, hear from me, believe in what I said, do it, and now you're a friend of mine. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's not, he's inviting us to something way more powerful than just choosing to live right. He's inviting us to know him, to be like him. That's what righteousness is. Righteousness is relationship with God. And your life and your actions revolve around that relationship. It's the one thing. It's the most important thing in your life. That relationship with God. It's the center of who you are and how you live and how you act in your life. That's righteousness. And it's the most important thing, in anything that gets in the way of that relationship, I change it. I mold myself around it. And when he speaks something into my life, and when he talks to me, I act on it. That's belief. That's faith. And it's credited to you as righteousness. And then you're a friend. You live as a friend of God. It's so beautiful. It's so wonderful. That's what he's calling us to. That's what he's talking about. And again, so easily we can read these because of our Christianese language that we've heard so much. We see like, oh, right living, wrong living. No. It's God calling you to full relationship with him and to become his friend. And that relationship is the most important thing in your life. And so I invite you to it. If you haven't done it recently, talk to God. Just begin the conversation. Start talking to him. Open up some space, some time in your life to talk with him. Your drive to work. At any moment while you're taking a shower, whatever moment you have free. Don't have to make it hard. Don't have to make it, don't have to be kneeling down by your bedside at 5:30 in the morning or whatever. Make it easy. but begin that conversation, start talking to him. And when you feel something come back, whether it's in a worship song you hear, some scripture that you read, or you feel that press in your heart, when you feel that thing come back to you, believe it and act on it. And that will begin this relationship with God. You don't do it because it's the right thing to do. You do it because it's the relationship and you're getting to know him and connect with him. All right, everybody. Awesome. I tried to keep this video less than 5 minutes, but it just didn't happen. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.